is up, and welcome back to 24 Minutes of Not A24, the podcast that takes a look at movies outside of the A24 library, literally 24 minutes at a time. I'm Ethan Simi.
And I'm Ben Lawhorn. This week on the pod, we are letting STEM take over and mutilating some upgraded humans as we talk about Upgrade.
Set in the near future, technology controls nearly all aspects of life, but when the world of Gray, a self-labeled technophobe, is turned upside down, his only hope for revenge is an experimental computer chip implant. Week 3 of AI movies, Ben. Artificial intelligence is taking over the feed here. This is another one of your picks. We did Ghost in the Shell last week. We did my pick to start us off with AI, artificial intelligence. We're back to you. And I will say, we can start the conversation here. You've been telling me to watch this movie for a very long time, and I haven't got around to it. And I just want to put it out in the world. I'm so sorry it took me so long.
Okay, cool. I'm glad.
Is sick.
I'm very happy to hear. I've been curious. You know, the listeners know that we usually don't talk about this kind of stuff until we get on the pod. And I've just been like very curious. Like, what is he thinking about? Like, even as I'm watching, I was like, does he dig this scene, or is he like, was he not into it? So I'm glad to hear that you're happy you watched it. Yeah. When we decided one of the themes is going to be AI, this was the first thing I put on our schedule.
Yeah.
It was like, we're watching Upgrade. I want to talk about it. I want another reason to watch it. So I'm happy we're here.
This was like the core movie. I think this is like what led us to do AI. Well, initially like the creator, and then this was like, okay, this is the first one we're definitely going to cover. So yeah, we have 24 minutes to talk about this movie. At risk, I just might mention maybe at risk here because this movie's kind of dope. Directed by Leigh Whannell. Leigh Whannell,
I think Leigh
Whannell, executive producer of several Saw movies and director of The Invisible Man and Insidious Chapter 3. And I can just tell you right now, this has got Saw in the blood. The poison drips through because obviously spoilers ahead for Upgrade. But when we get that first kill and STEM takes over Gray and gets that first kill, I was like, that is some high level Saw shit right there.
I mean, he's also the guy that wrote Saw. Like, he wrote the short. Like,
Saw, fuck, really?
Saw is his thing. Woo! He wrote Saw 1, 2, and 3.
He gets it then.
He
understood
wrote
the
Insidious. Like, he wrote, like, this is the Blumhouse dude, and we see it in this movie for sure.
So I have never heard of this movie outside of you telling me to watch this movie. Like, this is one of my confounding questions. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, why are we not talking about this movie? Like, why is this not like part of the conversation of like sci-fi, horror, B-tier, violent movies? It is perplexing.
Real ones know, you know what I mean? And now you're a real one. Now you know. I'm just happy to have one more person in the ranks. You know what I mean? It's like the more people I can get to watch Upgrade, the better. I don't even know. I'm curious how I found out about this movie. I honestly have no idea who told me about it, or if it was just like a blind purchase on Vudu or something. Like, it was on sale.
If it was a blind purchase on Vudu, that is probably the best blind purchase of your life.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, it was awesome. I'm super stoked that you were into it. But yeah, you're right. It's like, this is the creator of Saw, and like you said, the director of Invisible Man, which is also, I think, a really good movie. And it's just crazy. This guy just kind of goes under the radar. I mean, I jokingly say it, but I think I even said it last week. It's like, if you liked Venom, but you want like a really good version of it, like Upgrade is it. You know, if you want something taking over the body of someone else, like Upgrade, I think, is like one of the best versions of it. So I'm stoked. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I guess it just is perplexing because you're totally right. I think I was like, okay, Venom, like I think Venom is very bad. Like, how can it be good? Like, I don't get that. But this concept for this movie is so good, and it's executed well, like not supremely well, but it's executed well enough to be effective. And just the idea of like STEM, this little computer, is going to make you not a quadriplegic anymore, but eventually it'll take over your brain and it'll literally break your brain and you will turn into a manifestation of a killing machine. Is just a great idea. It's just one of those things where you're just like, they don't make them like that anymore. Like, it's just a simple idea and it's executed well. We're obviously going to talk about our 3 favorite parts, but I just want to mention real quick, this stars Logan Marshall Green, who obviously the running joke is this is just Tom Hardy. This is literally Tom Hardy with like a little Ashton Kutcher mixed in there in the face.
Yeah.
And it felt to me like almost every single person in this movie, like Harrison Gilbertson, who plays like the villain, the main guy, he's really just Rami Malek from like No Time to Die. He's literally just trying to be Rami Malek. Like the first time he shows up on screen, I was like, oh, okay, we're just trying to be movie stars here, which I loved. But it's an interesting energy, and if you can get on board, then I think it pays out heartily.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think even his wife looks like Rebecca Hall-ish. You know what I mean?
Oh my God,
I could
yes.
totally
Okay,
see
there you
that
go.
as well. So yeah, it's like, great value Tom Hardy. It's like we can't afford the real thing, so let's
Wish
get,
version.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I thought the casting was really well done. I think Logan Marshall Green does a great job. Like the constant needing to like act against what you're physically doing is so interesting. And I know we'll talk about that more, but it's just like, man, there's got to be some like a weird switch in your head you got to be able to turn on to be like, no, don't do this while you're actively doing this, and just like constantly do it. I think he's a huge reason I like this movie, because I think he does a wonderful job, especially in those moments where STEM is taken over.
Apparently, and I only know this because I looked on IMDb and I looked at the director and kind of went through things a little bit. Apparently, there's an Upgrade TV show that is in pre-production right now by Leigh Whannell, and is executive produced by him and directed by him. I've not heard about that like news at all. I guess maybe that's flying under the radar as well, but that makes me exceptionally excited because there are so many times during this movie where I was like, you could miniseries the shit out of this, and it would be excellent every single time. And I just want to like be with this world more, and this problem and this tech and this idea more. So I'm excited about that. Are you excited? Are you on board for an Upgrade TV show?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, sometimes I'm worried about it. I mean, another movie that I've suggested to you, Hannah. They made
here we go again with Hannah talk.
But they made a TV series out on Prime, and the TV series is actually pretty decent. Like, it's a story that can be a mini series, and I think they did a good job. So if this follows in that footsteps at all, like I'm on board. Like you said, the world is vast, and we only see like a sliver of it in this movie. So I think there's so much that they could open up to.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting visual juxtapositions of like the different societal levels, with, like tech and non-tech, and like homeless and uber rich and things like that. So I think there's obviously lots of things to explore there for this movie. Let's talk about this movie. Let's do our 3 true cinemas. I want to know, so I can get a base here for you, Ben, personally. There's a moment in this movie, and it happens, and it really kind of ends the first act when our main character Gray is like, okay, I'll get the STEM procedure. I'll go to your home. I'll go to Aaron. I'll go to your home and do this procedure away from hospitals, away from doctors, under the table, and I'll get implanted with this STEM machine. Would you do that? If you found yourself in this situation, are you saying yes to the STEM procedure?
I think so, because he's at the point where he's just like, I have nothing left to lose. He even says that to Aaron, where the guy's like, I can help you get your life back, all that kind of stuff. And Gray's like, that's not the route I'm going. Like, I'm looking for a way to end this. I'm not looking for a way to continue this. So with that kind of mentality in mind, it's like, yeah, let's go get the weird procedure. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They kill me. Like, I don't want to be here anymore anyway. My wife is gone. Like, let's just give it a shot and see. So I think I would go for it. I mean, it's an interesting idea. If it does work out like we see in the movie, then I have the chance to like avenge my wife or whatever. But if it doesn't, then I'm also done with all this pain and misery. I don't know. I mean, not to sound dark, but that's like, he literally says that. He's like, I'm trying to end my life, So like, we understand like what he's thinking. So would you do it?
Yeah. It's a fucking win-win, dude. Like you said, you either get like some semblance of your life back and you can walk again, or and you avenge your wife like John Wick style, or like you die, which is what he literally tries to do the scene before the operation to overload the computer. So yeah, I think it's a win-win. I think it is a little frightening, like mentally, to be like, yeah, I'll probably turn into a robot killing machine, and I'm okay with that outcome. That's a little dicey for me, but you know what? Sometimes the risks, you just got to go for it. You just got to do it.
Yeah,
So,
you just,
it is what it is.
you only go around once, right? We're here for a good time, not a long time. So why not become a killing machine?
100% agree with that statement. Okay, my very first true cinema moment is a smaller one, and I want to start off with this because it's a really good introduction into the style and energy and kind of like homemade nature of this movie, not in like a derogatory term whatsoever, but the very first time that Gray comes home with his STEM procedure, when he enters the door, we get our very first taste of that very fluid camera work that kind of goes with him and rocks with him and goes different zooming techniques, and it is jarring, but it is an excellent transition into this is what he feels like, and this is how he is understanding his world around him now. And I'm so glad that wasn't the first and last time that we saw that camera technique. I think that is something really special about this movie. So that's my very first true cinema moment.
I think that's a great call. That camera work mixed with like his physicality, because he's like so rigid and straight back and stuff like that. Like you can tell STEM, like you can just tell that STEM is doing all the work. I think he does a great job of like showing that off. I mean, mine's much more basic and we already talked about it, but it's that fight, like the knife through the mouth, man. Like
so sick,
it is
bro.
crazy. Like it basically becomes like Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis from Beetlejuice, where it's just like this big ass mouth. I'm like, oh my, like the first time I watched this and that happened, I was like, holy shit, like that's insane. Like I get that that's what would happen, but it's so weird to actually see that. I feel like other movies like cut to the back angle or something like that, you know, like they imply it, but we don't see it. But this was just like, nope, like the scars that the Joker has in The Dark Knight, we're actually going to show you how he got them. You know what I mean? Like we're actually going to do this. And yeah, it's jarring. I don't know that we get anything that's on that level throughout the rest of the movie that's that shocking or anything like that. Like some great fight scenes, obviously, but that one just like really catching me off guard, and it was, I don't know, it was fun to watch it again. But that whole moment, like I don't know if it's like one of yours or not, but just everything about him giving up to STEM, like please take over, you know, I think that's all great.
I mean, so it's like very Saw coded, obviously, where like that is, you can absolutely tell that stems from Saw.
Hey, there it is.
But I remember, because this is my first time watching this movie. This was a rewatch for you. So when he gets the procedure done, which I thought the dome was really cool, like how there's some X-ray panels and we go like over that. When he gets the procedure done and we see the incisions and the cutting, and we start to see some of his inside body. I was eating lunch and I was like, whoa, this is, I didn't know I signed up for this. This is a little gruesome, a little intense. And then obviously one of the scenes taking place directly after that is this jaw scene where a knife gets shoved into this guy's mouth and breaks his jaw. And I think that I just wasn't expecting it. And so literally I was like gasped. I was like, holy shit, this is hard. This goes so hard. That scene was sick. And I love that it was the first time he gave up control of STEM, because you're like, fuck, maybe you shouldn't do that again. Like that is beyond, like, worst case scenario is I kill this guy. Beyond worst case scenario is I shove a knife into his jaw and I just absolutely mutilate his body.
Yeah.
And that's what STEM's first idea is, to do that, which is insane. That's a great pick. That's a really, really fun part. So I had that on my list. I'll go to the next part. So another true cinema, my number 2 is, I want to make sure I pick the right one. Okay. Yeah. So the, uploading of Taran's memories with a needle finger. This is sick. So the main guy, Fisk, finds Taran, one of his henchmen or cronies, dead. Which, again, a really smart thing to do, to not show us those scars right away. Because I was sitting there literally saying out loud, I want to see his face. Show me his face. I want to know what damage we did, because I know you're going to show me, but you're holding off, which was smart. And he takes this needle that's in his finger and he drills it into Taran's cornea, and he uploads his memories into his eyeballs, which are like teched out or upgraded. And then subsequently, like with that, then goes to kill the barkeep by sneezing, and the particles in his sneeze have razor blades.
Yeah.
I have that idea has never ever crossed my mind of like what would what would a tech person or upgraded person with tech do? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Sneezing particles with razor blades. That is fucking awesome, and it is so cool, and it's executed very well, and that whole sequence was sick. It was a great really like submersive into these people are tech heavy and they're deadly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great scene too. That whole bar sequence is fantastic. Just calling to get everyone's attention, then getting dragged around in the bathroom and stuff. He's like, I just need to hear you. I need to hear you say it. Yeah, that's so well done. And then those guys, they actually lead into my second one, which was kind of the chase at the VR building. When they're like getting chased by these when he's getting chased by these robots. Like that one dude sees the people in the elevator coming in and just like shoots them through the elevator.
Sick, bro.
He's just like,
I thought he was gonna wait for the doors to open to pop them, but then like our expectations are subverted because he gets them through the cement stairwell when they're coming up, which is awesome.
They have no idea what's coming. But my favorite part of that sequence is kind of the culmination of it when he's fighting up top, breaks the dude's arm backwards, and then like shoots him in the head with his own gun hand.
Oh man,
it's just like, oh, this is crazy that this is a thing, that you could like,
so crazy.
It's I mean, that tech, I think in the wrong movie or in a lesser movie, the particle sneezes and the gun hands is like cheesy and dumb, it's just like, oh my God, you guys, like, this is ridiculous. But for some reason, this movie, it works for me. Like, I buy into the tech side of it. It's like, definitely. I mean, kind of in the future, that's what it would be. It's like, you can't take away my gun if my gun's in my arm, you know what I mean? That kind of a thing, but apparently you can break it backwards and make me shoot myself in the head with it. So again, like, I don't know what it says about me that my two picks so far are like the gnarliest kills that we get in this movie, but I loved them.
And that makes me even more interested in a TV show because I'm like, how do these people get upgraded? Like what's that side of society like? Like it's obviously underground to be an upgraded human. So how does that all work in this society? I'm very intrigued, very interested. Yeah. Obviously, I hope the show might explore something like that. I have no idea if this show's coming out in 6 months or 60 months. I don't know when we're going to get this TV show. So I got to taper my hopes and dreams, I guess. My third true cinema moment is a little predictable, but it is where STEM breaks Gray's mind. And I like this because we get the twist of Aaron being controlled by a STEM as well, which I thought worked. A little like eye rolly where it's like, okay, like I get it, STEM's controlling a lot of people. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But then, in my opinion, it gets twisted and flipped back because instead of like it ending there, we get an additional couple of minutes where like STEM fully takes over Gray, and the editing particularly where he is like trying to basically holding a gun to his own neck, and it seems like he might shoot himself and ends up like in an afterlife, only to realize that is a compartment of Gray's brain that STEM has put Gray in. Is super fucked up and really smart and really like the darkest depths of like, cool, technology and AI is just super, super dark, and we should never do anything like this ever. But like that 1-2 punch on the twist, I think worked well for me, especially in the construct of the movie where it's just like everything's a little over the top, sometimes predictable, but really cool and gruesome, and like the vibe just felt right, and I really like that part.
Yeah, and I mean they also kind of like tease us a little bit because we hear the gun go off right before we jump into this like dream sequence kind of thing, and you wonder if like it was successful. It's like, okay, so he's in a hospital, he's paralyzed, it worked, or just whatever, just briefly, and then all of a sudden we see the wife and like, okay,
she printed a pizza,
dead?
bro.
Like what's going on? I was like, what's happening here? So well done. And then cutting back to the real world where the cop is like, Gray, this isn't you. He's like, oh, Gray's gone, like you're not dealing with Gray anymore. It's like, oh shit. And then just like right in the chest. And just I think also one of the great endings as far as what happens now? Like, this is crazy.
Absolutely. Like rewatchable style, you're like, hey, what's the next day or 2 days or 3 days look like? He just goes on a killing rampage. Like, is that STEM's goal now, is to just kill people? Like, now that he has a human body to do so?
Yeah.
It's Terminator style, right? Like, he's just going to go fucking obliterate people.
Yeah. What's his objective now? Like, he killed the people he was after, you know,
Yeah.
he killed all the people that were involved in the murder of his wife. So now it's just like, what are you going after? But he looks determined. He looks like he's got a plan of some sort. So
it had very big like Memento, Minority Report vibes to it, especially obviously the part where he's like writing things on his arm. I was like, oh, cool. Like I know where you got that idea from.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some really cool like vibey homages.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Mine's just a little before that. I just enjoy a good car chase, and I thought this was really well done, and also like to the point of STEM being like, oh, neither of your cars are electric, so I can't actually do anything with this. It's like, oh, cool, this is a good way. You know, it's kind of like you get the cell phone out of service. That's why they can't use their phone.
Right.
You know, and it's like these cars can't be controlled by STEM because of this. But then we see STEM be like, actually, there is one thing I can do. And then we get what essentially looks like that Tesla truck thing.
Yeah, it's a Cybertruck for sure.
Yeah, it's a Cybertruck looking thing. And just that guy who's probably the worst. He's probably just like the worst person ever. So it's fine. But also just like to slam on the brakes on the freeway. And then not even that, but then to start going in reverse. Like, oh shit, like you could just wait until these cars come up. It's like, nope, we're going to go to them. And I just love that shot of like the side shot parallel with it as we're just like flying backwards and all these other cars are like still driving forward. I think it's cool. The crash is insane. I don't know that she actually survives in real life.
Hardcore, bro. Like it didn't let up. And I thought we were going to get like a little scrape or a ping or like, you know, she's going to swerve out of the way at the last second, but it is dead on as hard as can be.
And the angles of that car, that would just slice right through the cop's car. Yeah. Like she would be done. I also like how she just like the next scene, she's like at the back of the mom's house. Like, how did you get here? You know, like I guess they have probably Uber or something like that in the future. That's true. Yeah. So anyways, that car chase would be my scene.
Yeah, that's sick. One more kill I want to bring attention to real fast is when he kills Fisk with the glass through his dome, which is tight. That was a good kill. Would this fit into the A24 catalog? I'm going to say yes. I think it would. I think it is a little bit hyper violent. I think it's more on like that neon level, but it is kind of enough off kilter and enough of a unique idea to where I feel like it could fit within that A24 mold of this is weird and it works for the most part and it's like really fun. And I just don't know another studio that would you know pay money for this or want to distribute this. So
yeah, I mean, you mentioned the studio. I mean, it's Blumhouse, and they're like they're famous for like giving people $5 million, like whatever you can do with this. You know, that's like the budget they would give everyone, and that's the budget this movie had, and then it brought back 16 million. So, which isn't nothing. You know, get 3 times your money back on a movie like this. That's great. So
let's make more movies like this.
This would totally fit in A24.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week on the Patreon pod, we are continuing artificial intelligence. We have a few more weeks, I think, and then we've got some special stuff coming up. A lot of movies coming out in the back half of 2023. So, you know what? We might be tackling some movies to lead up to those. Next week, however, we are talking about probably the most influential AI movie of the subgenre itself, Blade Runner. I'm excited to revisit. It's been a minute. I can't wait.
It's going to be good. Let us know your thoughts on Upgrade. We are on Twitter and Instagram at 24 minutes of A24. You can also follow us on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support to all the patrons. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. I am Ben Lawhorn.
And I am Ethan Simi. STEM, I give you permission to take over.